What is going on out there, peeps? Alright, this won't be too long of a video. If you guys remember, I spoke about these people. The AIIB, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Remember who they are? Some of you are going, no, Pimpy, I don't remember. They're housing a very special computer system. We're getting ready to talk about it here in just a moment. A reminder to everybody that if you're thinking about buying gold and silver, please go check out our friends over there at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and get a free half ounce of silver. I got to put this here because sometimes when I'm using information, so that I don't get dinked. But kick back and get ready because we're going to talk about some things briefly that you guys might be interested in. So you guys remember this article sent to me by Enslaved on Twitter. Speaks about the QFS system. Now before then, we had not seen this type of information. It was not out there. Everything was just rumors. Rumors. But this was about as close as I can get at the moment to it being a real thing. It broke it down really good. You guys know this. I did a whole video on it. Breaks it down pretty good. Later on, I found a second article. And then I found a third article regarding the QFS system. When I did a video, people lost their damn mind. They're like, white hats, Trump's got XRP, the whole 9 yards. I said, no. You see, the QFS system, according to these articles, is sitting in the AIIB. Housed in a quantum computer, it is housed in the AIIB, the Asian Investment Infrastructure Bank, the Eastern counterpart of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. 9 quantum satellites. So it says to connect to the QFS with the SWIFT and the CIPS, which is a cross-border payment system. An interface called a DLT, which is a distributed ledger technology, has been implemented. So I went over this and people lost their mind. They didn't want to know that China had it. Oh no, this is wrong. No, what do you mean? Nobody else has this out there. Nobody has any proof. After doing a little digging, I reached out to Foster Swiss. They told me the system was real. They had a specialist. I spoke to the specialist. I wanted to get them on record. They refused to do it. I can't make people get on record. So I'm still searching and trying to bring proof to you that this thing exists. We know on Facebook, anytime you mention it, you get smacked with one of those fact checkers, which is interesting because Charlie usually gets this guy has a thing for Charlie. He must be. His name's Arthur Bryce, because most all the articles that Charlie puts out, this guy fact checks. So they remove the articles. Any mention of a QFS system, they remove, which makes me very curious. You know, usually Facebook don't give a crap if something is fake. They don't care. They leave it there. Usually what they do is remove articles that tell people the truth. You ever notice that? I did reach out to Arthur, and I told you guys about this in the video, and we had a conversation. All he said is this website right here doesn't provide any proof of its existence. And I told him I'd called him and spoke to him. They told me it exists. Had he called him? He had not. So I thought it was interesting that he was just discrediting any talk about the QFS system. Well, lo and behold, there's talk about the AIIB. China's AIIB to radically change the world. China challenges the deep state's IMF. So what it goes on to talk about is, look at this. Look at what's happening with the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, the AIIB. Of course, when the United Kingdom said they were going to join it, there was a lot of pressure from the United States for them not to join it, and yet they did anyways. They are now 35 initial members, and it's ready to launch. So it would be official, they had this date, that the AIIB is going to be a competitor to the IMF and the World Bank. Again, the United States has been putting pressure on its allies not to join, but one by one they are joining. Did I read this wrong up here and said they were going to join? There was a lot of pressure from the United States. Okay, so not the United States joined, the United Kingdom is what this is. So I misinterpreted that. Anyways, what they're saying is a lot of countries are joining this new system. The AIIB, that is. The United States is against it because, again, it starts to take away the control and power that the United States has over the world. And it's done through the IMF and the World Bank. It's a globalist bank. Trust me when I tell you that. So as much as the United States is pressuring people not to join the AIIB's new system, it seems to me a lot of people around the world are. So after the UK, we had France, Germany, Italy had all joined. Now it appears that even South Korea is going to join. There's a lot of the allies of the United States. When you look at the reasons why these countries are joining, it's very clear. The United States has a military pivot to Asia, but China's pivot to Asia is business. So the business of America is war, but the business of China is business. For example, 12% of South Korea's exports go to the United States, but 25% go to China. So you can see South Korea's motivation. It's money. So the United States sent over U.S. Assistant Secretary of State, that was a while ago, to try to talk to South Korea out of joining. The U.S. was saying they have to make sure the AIIB meets the high watermark of the World Bank and MIF. In other words, what could we do to control the AIIB so we can continue with world dominance? What a bunch of hypocrisy. That is because when you look at the people who ran or are running the World Bank, one of them was Paul Wolfowitz. You guys remember that name? He's the one that said this war will pay for itself regarding the Iraqi dinar. The architect of the Iraq war and Wolfowitz's doctrine that essentially launched an attack against the former Soviet Union once it collapsed. It says our first objective is to prevent the reemergence of a new rival, either on the territory of the former Soviet Union or elsewhere, that poses a threat on the order of that is posed formerly of the Soviet Union. It's crazy. When I was growing up, I remember the Soviet Union, the USSR, the big scary people. Now we just call them used to be I was going to say the Soviet Union. It's not the Soviet Union. We call them Russia now, but we used to call them the USSR. It's still Russia, but this is the dominant consideration underlining the new regional defense strategy and requires that we endeavor to prevent any hostile powers from dominating a region whose resources would under consolidate control, but sufficient to generate global power. They're talking about the U.S. See, the U.S. has become a bad little country. As much as it's mine, and I love it, let's be honest. We know how corrupt our politicians are. And they've been creating regime changes around the world. They say so they're friendly to us. No, the ones that they can control. Push them more towards this new great reset is what it ended up being. So that's who's running the World Bank. Is that the high watermark the U.S. demands? the AAIB? In other words, why are they going to listen to what the U.S. has, and why would they want the U.S. to come in and dictate what can and cannot be done with this bank? High watermark? No, the World Bank and IMF has a habit of going into countries, telling them to forgive their debt as long as they are allowed to install the monetary policies for that country, which usually lower inflation, but severely devalue the currency while not offering any type of plan to help the economy grow. Iraq's a perfect example. Then you look at the new president of Afghanistan. He worked for the World Bank for several years. So what's the high watermark? When you look at the name of it, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, it's anthem to what America does. So here's the thing. Over 20 years, China has invested 8.5% of its GDP annually into infrastructure. And during the same period, the United States infrastructure investment was a big whopping 0.06%. So yes, there's a huge difference. Now all of a sudden we want to work on infrastructure. We were too busy doing regime changes and squashing the middle class and getting rid of the middleman and making our billionaires richer instead of focusing on what mattered the most. So China going for the gold as Western mainstream media is silent. So infrastructure and investments are not the kinds of policies America really has much knowledge of. The bottom line is about the money, the golden rule. Those who have the gold rule. China is going for the gold in the investment in Asia, emerging and developing markets. China is building the Asian economy rather than getting involved in wars. So this is the Silk Road gold holdings and purchases. It only goes up to about, 2014. As you can see, they have been amassing huge amounts of gold for quite some time, but especially once the market crashed around 2008. Is that right? 2007, 2008, and then it really took off, and they still to this day accumulating a lot of gold. What they're doing is they pushed out a gold-backed yuan, and their banks are backing all their assets up with gold. That's real sound money. What do we have? The Federal Reserve, a promissory note. When you look at the development of the BRICS nations, as well going with their bank system, let me repeat, when you look at the development of the BRIC nations as well, going with their bank system, you can see this is a more and more of a move away from the United States and the dollar as a reserve currency and the United States as a world power. So they have a new banking system. We spoke about this banking system. I told you that who was controlling it at the moment. I also told you when I did a video that there were a ton of different countries coming in. Although this article does not specifically say the system, we know in this article they're telling us that the system is being housed in the Asian Investment Infrastructure Bank. So is the QFS real? Well, I'm going to be making a special phone call late this afternoon with a person who can come on, and I'm looking forward to them letting me know when they wanted to do the interview, but has worked on a QFS and has friends that work on a QFS and will be able to talk freely about the QFS system. But I do think it's very interesting that all of a sudden fact checkers are removing any talk about the QFS off the website, which is usually what they do to anything that's legitimate. Get where I'm coming from? Anyways, I just wanted to update you on this and let you know about this article talking about the AAIB. And I remember the QFS system was a new system in here. And in this article, it tells you their new banking system. So, is it the QFS? Is the QFS real? We're going to find out real soon, that's for sure. Whatever system the AIIB is using, countries are signing up. Your guess is as good as mine, but we will find a way to prove it. Anyways, that's it for now. I thought I would just give you a quick update on what's going on and what's the latest news on that. And I just wanted to link these two articles together because they got to be talking about the same thing, and we knew it. Hit the thumbs up button if you're not a subscriber. Please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel. And I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later. I'm out.